Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing with another rousing edition of South Texas News and Reviews with Mr. Eddie here. He's all dressed up for wintertime. And we'll just go ahead and make sure we got about 20 seconds on it, and then he'll signal me and we'll get it started.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of South Texas News and Review. And coming around the corner like every week is Dr. Gerald Sansing. Welcome to the show, sir.
Well, thank you, Mr. Eddie. Just wanted to start by saying this. Well, the new times were on the front. We're airing at 9 o'clock on Wednesday evenings on Public Access Channel 10 and also at 5 o'clock on Saturday. So those were the best times I could get. Rather have it at night, but you know, you can't win them all. And I'd just like to say that this Wednesday, I guess that'll be Christmas night, the thing airs.
Yeah, I believe
all right,
so, sir.
If anybody's watching, I doubt it very seriously at that time of the day, but that's the reason we've got it on YouTube. But anyway, I'd like to wish everybody happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and everything else that goes with it. I'm not afraid to say Merry Christmas, although I'm not of that persuasion, but we'll just leave it at that. And you know, you can tune us in on YouTube. All you have to do is go to YouTube and then put in Gerald Sansing, and a bunch of the shows are already there. And I believe we're going to be on what's called Ustream. Do you know that?
Yes,
one?
yeah, Ustream,
okay.
yes,
all
sir.
Right. Okay, and then Eddie gave me my Christmas present early. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this was the front page of the Caller Times a while back. I'll see if I can do this without getting a glare on it. But this was the Destination Bayfront crowd looking pretty blue during the evening when the votes came out. So I'll just leave it at that, and I won't rub any more sand in that wound. That only cost me about $3,000 to pull that one off, or my group, actually. I've got a lot of money in it, and so do a lot of other people. But anyway, we did it.
Yeah, and you know, having said that, I want to wish all our fans out there, everybody that stops me at the restaurant, whenever you see me, I know over the weekend I was at a local grocery store, and you know, and you guys came up to me and you were, you know, giving me high fives and stuff like this for, you know, the Destination Bayfront thing went down in a blaze, and I appreciate you guys going out there and expressing yourself with voting. Voting is very important to me and to the good doctor, and I want to thank all of you and thank you for everything that you guys do, you know, out there. We appreciate that you see your show. And I myself, it's Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you. And next year, remember, next year's going to be a good year, man. It's going to be a lot of things going on, you know. And as I was out and about this last weekend, I also heard that Destination Bayfront is not a done deal yet. They're going to come back.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to try something, folks. So get ready out there to go out and vote, because they're coming back. They're going to take this. They're going to figure a way how to come back again and do it all in again. But we're ready for them.
Yep. I told everybody to save their signs and save their T-shirts, because I don't think that's a done, you know, an undone deal yet.
No, it isn't. You know, and another thing that you guys told me out there, and I know you, I can tell what issues you get perturbed, upset. You know, you didn't like it, and that's, you were telling me, and you know, all of you told me, 3 people told me at the grocery store, what's wrong with the policemen? Why can't they give back, you know, to the taxpayers? You know, we pay their salary. You know, what is this about filing, you know, all these permits? Is that it, permits? Or,
right.
You know, I mean, we support the police. I support the police. I support them and the firemen and everybody else in the community. And I feel that this is a community thing. You know, sometimes, yeah, it's good to make money, but sometimes it's good to help out, give out, you know. And I mean, and this is for the, you know, for the children. The senior citizens out there, you know, we support the policemen, you know, and you know, and the firemen, and but now they want to, I guess, I don't know, nickel and dime you for everything you want to have. You want to have a little parade out there? Give me a permit. You want to have something out there? Give me a permit.
Well, you know, the thing that is so ironic about that, Eddie, is this was on 11/30. It says organizers cancel Triathlon Festival, and the main reason that they provided for that was the police security and so forth was going to be you know, going to break them. They couldn't afford to have that done. And then there was another one on 11/26 by Chuck Trexler. He said CCPD charging for security events, and as a Beach to Bay committee member, I would like an opportunity to respond to a portion of an article on November 20th regarding CCPD beginning to charge for events, specifically a comment made by Lieutenant Israel Souza. Lieutenant Souza stated it's not fair for taxpayers to fund events. Well, we fund an awful lot of stuff around here, folks, and I don't know, but you know, with this quest to have more and more tourists and all these things coming in, like that motorcycle gang that came in here, and all these other things, Beach to Bay, and all the rest of these festivities around here, and parades, then you know, that's just going to run these people out. So there goes your tourist money. So you know, why don't you just go get a stick out in the backyard and go ahead and sharpen it up and stick yourself in the eye city. That's, you know, about what you're trying to do with that mess. But anyway, and I did want to interject, Eddie, that we tried to get together on December 7th, which is Pearl Harbor Day, and film a show, and but we couldn't arrange due to our Del Mar College schedule.
Yes.
So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my father for his 30-plus years as a fighter pilot in the Air Force and military service to this country. He was 92 this last December 7th. That was his birthday. Anyway, I'd just like to thank him for fighting for my First Amendment rights so that I can sit here and tell things the way I see them, and hopefully, tell you how different people feel around the community and what this community means to me, and so forth and so on. Okay, he was shot down strafing trains, a rail yard in France, German railhead, and in his P-51 Mustang, got shot up right on the deck. I guess he probably wasn't over 100 feet off the deck when he did that, and he was able to get enough altitude to roll the plane over and unhitch the safety belts and fall out. And then he was fortunate enough to have the French underground pick him up and hide him out, and it took him 90 days to get him out of France back over the English Channel and back into England. So he was never a prisoner of war, thank goodness. But anyway, so he's still kicking at 92, folks, so maybe there's some hope for the rest of us around here. But I do want to thank him for all he sacrificed, and my mother sacrificed for my rights under free speech. Okay, so I'll just leave it at that. And then I'd like to get right straight into one of the things that's really been bothering me lately, folks, real big time. And that's the fall of Del Mar College into total mediocrity over here, both socially and academically and so forth. And I've been trying to obtain certain information in order to explain why this thing's in such a academic downfall, and inform the taxpayers of what's been going on. So I thought I'd hit a few of these as I went. Okay, now it's not helping us at the state level where they're talking about the students coming in and not being prepared. Del Mar College, as I've said on past shows, has had to teach developmental classes, they're called them. They're actually remedial classes, most of them, and teach kids how to read, write, and add, subtract, multiply, and divide, things that they were not taught in CCISD or wherever these Texas high schools and grade schools they come from. And I think it's a tragedy that the taxpayers of Del Mar College are faced with re-educating people after we pay dearly also through CCISD. And what it is these, it's called administrative bloat, and I'll get into that in a minute. But this doesn't help, folks. Algebra 2 mandate might be dropped. State Board of Education takes first step. Now, why in the world would you want to dummy somebody down and not have them succeed in taking a basic algebra class, which is so critical to everything from balancing a checkbook to baking a cake, or to succeeding in any endeavor that you go into? I mean, you need the mathematics, folks. And why they can't seem to get it across in CCISD, I'm not real sure. If you fail a student in CCISD, then the teacher is the one that's at fault, not the student. And that's here we go with the administrative bloat and this administrative pomp and serious. They don't take credit for anything. Okay.
No. Except
when somebody does well, and then but the bad stuff, folks. which they have induced into the system, they don't want to, they don't want to deal with it, okay? To secure the future, we will need to educate it, okay? This was a editorial in the Caller Times here back in November, and it goes through and says, we've got to have training programs are underway at Del Mar and Coastal Bend colleges and industry, and there's this big push to get people into the oil patch to work as welders and pipe fitters and so forth, which I think is great, folks. But we've also got to not just drop everything and take care of the trades as well as the general education, because we have a lot of students who can succeed at Del Mar College, and they have done it in the past, and they go on to become vets and physicians, dentists, and research people and so forth. And then we've got Greg Abbott, who I don't think much of. I don't know what you think of the man, Eddie, but I think he's done more to harm this state than good, especially with the Public Information Act requests and so forth and so on. So it says, but Abbott turns attention to education. And then it says the Democrats criticize vision of the campaign. Well, I'm not going to get into the politics, and education shouldn't be a political pawn, okay? We should have a ping pong ball, okay? But it said Abbott, meanwhile, has received criticism about not even having education listed as an issue on his campaign website. The Texas State Teachers Association, in a blog post, noted Abbott had mentioned education reform, but hadn't done much about it, okay? So that's our aspiring governor. He wants to take over when Rick Perry's gone, and he may just pull that off. I don't know. I hope the people of this state have got more sense than that, but possibly not. And then education factoring heavily in the campaign, and the feud rages through though neither has a platform. So I guess this gal Davis and Abbott are going to be duking it out, vie for the next governor of the state of Texas. But what you need to do is some of that money that you guys are crowing about socking away over there, you need to educate or put it back into education after you stripped it out before, okay? So I'd like to invite the taxpayers and students out there of Del Mar College to join me and try and reverse the fall into mediocrity. And I know some people that are very well connected with Del Mar College, and they say that we're turning it into a total mediocrity situation. Okay, we don't deserve such happenings as this, Eddie, and should tell the members of the DMC Board of Regents to hold the DMC administration accountable. And a lot of that has to do not only with the misunderstanding of the Board of Regents members as to what education is all about. Most of them are not educators and don't know, but they're being led down the merry path by these administrators who are not professors and so forth. They go and get a degree in community college education or administration, and then all these wild off-the-wall degrees, and then we've got people, I'll talk about administrative bloat in just a minute. And that's what the Wall Street Journal calls it, is administrative bloat. And that's where all the money's going, okay? So, other problems at Del Mar, Eddie, would you like to take a shot at the custodial service, or are you going to leave that one alone today?
No, let's talk about the custodial and the groundkeepers for that matter too, And I know that everybody's gonna say, well, what's happening at this place, it's happening at A&M. And the thing is that throughout this country, everybody wants to outsource people, and then everybody's gonna also, I hear it from other friends of mine who work at other, colleges and school districts, that everything they want, as a matter of fact, they want to outsource everybody. Mm-hmm. But the administrators, they want to give the money. It's like, give me more money, right? But they outsource our community when they do that. We lose people. When you get somebody invested, and you're there, and you, like me, I've been there a long time, well, we care about the college. We care how it looks. But when you hire a contractor's about bottom line. Right. I mean, if he can get away with it without spending a lot of money, he's going to do it. He ain't going to go over. He's not going to do anything more than what's written on the paper. I don't do this. If you want me to do this, it's gonna cost you more money. I don't do that. It's gonna cost me more money. And again, a lot of you have told me, Del Mar College employees, that you gave up, and I don't blame you, because you send emails to the president, to the vice president, and it's like either they don't listen. I hear that they don't respond back, and then one day there is a what do you call it, the letter, the president sends the letter out to get feedback. No one answers it because you say, well, nobody cares.
Yeah, well, the survey.
The survey
is totally bogus, and a lot of people say, yeah, we've answered these before, and the truth was not told by the administration over there to the Board of Regents when they give them results and so forth. So why should I bother? And like I say, Eddie, I'm still upset because the urinal in the upstairs of the Garcia Science Building still is not automatic flush, and I went in there yesterday, which was on a Sunday, to get some lab work done, and had to go into the restroom, and it almost knocked me down. Okay, so I mean, but it's the little stuff like that, Eddie. You call and you ask and you beg, and nothing gets done over there, and it's just wild and woolly. So that's the type of service you find taxpayers are getting out there for $82,000+ per month. That's not a year, folks. That's per month. $82,000 for custodial services. Okay, and I don't know what the
the grounds, the way the grounds work right now. They right now it's getting to the winter season now. So most of the crew, in other words, if some trees or shrubs need trimming, when we had groundkeepers here. It took a phone call and it was done that day, that hour, that next 30 minutes. It got done real quick. When you have contractors, it might be a week, it might be 2 weeks, it might be 3 weeks, because they got other accounts that they got to service. And Del Mar's over here, and that's okay. They ain't gonna say nothing to us. Well, if they call, then we'll come back and do it. And then they'll do it and they come back and do something else. But that's the contractors, But then again, if you don't answer the survey, the administrator said, well, Eddie, you're the only one that's complaining. You're the only one that's, because everything is honky-dory. Everything, all the feedback we're getting back said they're doing okay.
Yeah, well, the feedback I gave them wasn't okay. So I didn't see much of my stuff in there. And I'm still scrubbing my floors and having to take care of my lab, because it's my understanding that they say, they meaning the GCA custodial, says that they're training people on how to read chemical labels and work around chemicals and that type of stuff, which is hogwash. I don't think they have any training at all that I can tell. I'd like to see the documentation. I'm too busy at this stage of the game mopping my floors and trying to take care of my own stuff that I may just have to request that through the Public Information Act request. But $82,000 a month, folks, and the place still stinks in the restrooms, and there's stuff that's just not being done. The same floors being mopped at the same time every day, and nothing seems to get done.
But again, there's there are administrators that they know what's going on, and I mean, same thing with the board members. I'm sure board members are going to the restroom. The contractor, when they know there's a board meeting at the Hartman Center, you see them out there. You see them out there getting those restrooms clean, because they know that the board members are there.
Oh yeah.
But they should clean the administrative building like they do there, clean all the buildings. But they don't, and again, the people that work for them, as you said, they're not trained. If they come into me and ask me, how do you do this, how do you do that, they're not being trained. It's no secret that their supervisor and I, we don't see eye to eye. We don't get along, because she comes from another part of the United States, and she figures that she can overrun the people there, and if she had her way, the porters would be gone.
Yep.
But the thing is that I've been there 22 years, and I know the college better than she does any given day. And the thing is that when we had our custodial people, did it right. Yep. But then again, they loved the college. They were invested in the college. They cared about their building. They cared about their grounds. If a groundkeeper had the Garcia building, he cared about that building, making it look good. If the custodian in that building, he cared that the restrooms were clean, disinfected. They cared about that. That was their job, man. And they cared about that. And man, they were on it. But that was because they were part of the family. They were part of Delmar. And now it's not like that. You have a contractor. One day is one custodian. Next day he might be gone. They bring another one, and they don't have the same caring that they do if our custodians who used to be there. They knew the building backwards and forwards.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing another brilliant move, as far as I'm concerned, by the Board of Regents, and this was driven, I know, by one Trey McCampbell, who's American Bank Vice President or administrative something over there for administrative services. But this has been a while back. This was back in September, but I've had a lot of people that are asking me about this, Eddie.
Yes.
But the headline here was Board approves purchase of Southside property. Now we have a person who's the CFO now, the Chief Financial Officer. I guess that's a bump up from the vice presidency that he held for business, finance, popsicle making, and everything else in the run. He's not qualified for that. I've already told you what the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools said about that, and they said it would be fine, maybe temporary, but I don't know what temporary means at Delmar College. Okay. But anyway, we had a $7 million surplus on one of our yearly budgets, so they went out and spent $6.8 million of that for 95 acres at the corner of Rod Field and Yorktown. Okay. Now, the reasons that were reported in here, the bottom line is Dr. Mark Escamilla admitted he didn't know what they were going to do with that property. It's been proposed to have a campus out there because our PR person, Ms. Claudia Jackson, Executive Director of Community and Legislative Relations, that sounds real fancy, indicated currently approximately 40% of the college's students live south of South Padre Island Drive. The area surrounding the Southside location is booming with new home construction. Purchasing this land now ensures a footprint to use in the future. Well, folks, we've got too much to do, but rather than spend $7 million roughly just because you had a surplus on 95 acres out there. Now, knowing that Mr. McCampbell, who's over here glaring at me with that picture, which is a classic, okay, I've asked him this on several shows and I haven't got an answer to this. I don't think I ever will. But he was the lead dog, so to speak, for Destination Bayfront. Okay, so what are we going to do with that 95 acres out there? Are we going to go in there and try to put in another tourist trap and call it what, the Destination Pasture Front or something like that? Maybe put a zoo up out there, the American Bank Zoo, and Center South. You want a water park in that big, huge, wide 10-foot, 12-foot ditch out there that floods. I've been out there when it's done it, folks. I've seen cows up to their belly in standing water out there at certain times when it rains, and then it finally drains back down into Oso Creek out there. But it just kills me to. It burns me up, is what it does. As a taxpayer, to see people just go flitter the thing away, and then I'm sure they're going to come in for a bond, just like they did with Destination Bayfront. If that was $44 million to start with and $70, $80 million to end up with, then what in the world is it going to cost to build a Delmar College campus south? I figure probably about, $200 million. Okay? If it's $44 million for Destination Bayfront on that 35 acres, then it's going to be horrendous. And Destination Bayfront just wanted to put in a dog park and a couple of diaper changing outhouses and so forth. But to build a campus out there on 95 acres of ground, folks, that's going to be extremely expensive. And I don't buy into this that the population of Delmar or Corpus Christi is going to double in the next 10 years. That's the biggest load of hogwash I've heard in a long time. And they say, well, that's what's going to happen with this Eagle Ford Shale business. Well, it isn't going to happen. So, it's incredible. So I don't know how you feel about it, Eddie, but that just burns me up.
Well, here's the deal, about 95 acres, 94 acres, whatever it is. With that kind of money that we're spending, we got to keep we still got to make the East Campus look good. Now, the other day somebody told me about DeSiana Drive. That's for those that don't work at Delmore College. DeSiana Drive is between the Heritage Hall and the gymnasium, and we spend $1 million, I believe.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now I like to be green. I like I like everything. You know me. I'm for the environment. And they say, well, we're going to make that a green area, and we're going to knock all the concrete. Well, concrete is expensive, folks. It is expensive. It's there. Leave it alone. You cannot. At the time, I was perturbed for $1 million just to have one street named after a president. That really got me upset. But it got done. And now certain people want to do the green thing, which is okay. But you're talking about knocking down the concrete. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that our East Campus is our main campus. We need to take care of this campus. There's so much work to be done, especially maintenance. We don't maintenance, man.
I'll get to that.
Okay,
in just a second.
but and again, it's like everything else in Corpus Christi. If the sidewalks are not fixed or not attended, they sink. They go up because of the nature of our foundation here in this city. And the thing is that it takes money to keep up the campuses. But when you have restrooms that
Yeah.
and then you have grounds that we don't have grounds no more. You don't have flowers. You don't have anything no more. And everybody complains about that. But you take the library. The library is another place that gets used a lot, mm-hmm. and it takes a lot of maintenance for that library. And when you don't have a maintenance department was the right. We used to have a lot of people in our maintenance department. Mm-hmm. Now we have one plumber, one electrician, part-time, and sometimes they only work 19 hours. Mm-hmm. So there's certain things that happen, and you can't cover the whole, even the East Campus. You still got the West Campus, you still got the South Campus, the Northwest. And the thing is, was the money that was spent on the 95, 96 acres, whatever it was, mm-hmm. We still got to find a way to either hire more people. That's what is needed. But of course, like I said, certain administrators don't want that.
All right. Well, there's a board member that's very much interested in education, folks. I'm not going to name names on this one, although it's Mr. Guy Watts. Okay, and now Dr. Watts. He was looking to have not an elite, but a talented and gifted students campus there at SPID in Rodfield.
Right.
Okay, which would have been a whole lot less than the 95 acres it did cost. And I guess some of the other board members, and I sense that it may have been Trey McCampbell, poo-pooed that when they went ahead and said that it was such a good deal on a per square foot basis. That's what our CFO said, Dr. Sloan. So they went and invested in that boondoggle out there. And I'd much rather have a gifted and talented group of people and a place for them to go and the facilities and faculty member to take care of them, rather than the way it's been done, which is very poor, folks. And mediocrity is the buzzword of the day over there. Okay, so then again, here's another one that floored me. There's a move going on in the Board of Regents. Again, I don't know who's leading this charge, but I know that Mr. Watts is furious about it. But what's happened is they want to tear that kinesiology building down, and what they're saying is the state, the coordinating board and so forth, education board, has ruled out having kinesiology, which is physical activities, physical education, a part of the core curriculum at Delmore College and anywhere in the state. So this has given them the bright idea to go ahead and tear down that facility, which is now, it's a pristine place, folks. We just finished, what was it? It was $4 to $5 million and an upgrade on that not long ago. Okay, and they just want to level that and put in, like he said, that DeSiana Drive. I was tickled when I was asked, when Dr. DeSiana was president here, if it bothered me that they named that Deisiana Drive after him, and I said, no, it's very fitting because he spent $1 million to go nowhere.
Nowhere.
And I said that was his
Yeah.
whole administration. He'd spend millions of dollars, and we got nowhere at Del Mar College.
But you know, not just you mentioned that there's a lot of new faculty members out there that don't know what we're talking about. Remember when DeSantis came? How many more did he hire as these?
Oh yeah, well that's when the administrative bloat really got into full gear. And he was another with a PhD in community college administration. So, you know, all I can say is it's ruining modern education with this administrative bloat, folks. I just hate to see it. And every day I'm at Del Mar College, there's another job ad flashed up for an assistant to an assistant to an assistant to do something over there for admin. And then we begged for new faculty members in our department, and we can't get anybody approved.
No.
Okay, we'll go hire adjuncts. Okay, they're a lot cheaper. And let's go over there and change Sansing's door lock and run him off. You know, see if we'll get somebody in there to teach micro for a whole lot less, and then nobody's going to be asking us a bunch of questions and trying to get the taxpayers to listen. So just email me, folks, if you're concerned. That's gsansing, S-A-N-S-I-N-G @gmail.com. I'll send you the email addresses for all the Board of Regents members and administrators, anything you want. Just let me know. But if you don't put the pressure on, it's not going to change. Okay? And then,
Go ahead.
speaking of maintenance and so forth, okay, I found a letter that was written by one of the faculty members over there, and it said, when the history faculty held a brief demonstration last Friday in Heritage Hall 120, it is apparent, sitting in student seats, how badly deteriorated our building is becoming. In that room alone, a giant crack runs down the back wall, windows are blacked out, and the AV equipment is literally falling off the wall, and the Wi-Fi doesn't work, carpet is frayed and stained, and the paint is dingy. Ceiling tiles are stained, clock doesn't work, etc., etc., etc. I'm sure other rooms are just as bad or worse. A couple of days ago in the same room, a student pointed to a crack in the back wall and asked me what happened. They're aware of it too. They're aware of it too, okay? And then some of us, including me, have come to the conclusion that administration has made a deliberate, though perhaps unconscious, decision to cease maintenance on Heritage because of their long-term plan is to demolish it and build a new building, okay? There you go.
Yeah.
So why maintain something that you're going to tear down in the next 5 years? Probably 5 years later. So let the students suffer. Let them put up with cracks in the wall, and I understand that the johns aren't fastened to the floor very well. They've shaken loose over the years, and it's like riding a bucking bronco when you're trying to do your business in there. And students don't deserve that, folks. They don't deserve it 1 second. And then we've got $7 million pasture out there. For what? You know, and then the president admits in his own news article he didn't know what he's going to do with it exactly, but we've got it because it was cheap. Well, folks, that kind of money was not cheap. I forget, what was it, $2 or $3 a square foot?
Something like that, yeah.
It was multi-$1,000s per acre. That's not cheap in anybody's mind, folks. Okay, so I just wanted to go ahead and tell you that you know, maintenance stinks and is non-existent over there, and the ploy is, well, let them shout and scream, you know, we'll tear it down eventually. Now what they want to do with that is take the old memorial classroom, I understand, and turn that into admin, move them out of Heldenfels over there on Baldwin Boulevard at the corner of Baldwin and Ayers, and then tear Heritage Hall down and put in a big new student center there, okay? And then I don't know what they want to do when they tear the gym and fill in the swimming pool with concrete. I have no idea what they're about to do there. And then with the current Heldenfels, they were going to go ahead and put up a second floor on that and turn it into classrooms. And what they're going to do also is they're going to tear down that English building. Now where are they going to put those faculty members?
Yeah.
Okay. Now another board member has decided that, and had made this suggestion to the Board of Regents, we don't need the collegiate high school necessarily on East Campus. Now the old science building, St. Clair, where I used to be, okay, they renovated the nursing building. Now it's a Garcia Science building.
Right.
And then they moved the collegiate high school into the old St. Clair after a lot of money on renovation of that. And what this board member is proposing is, let's boot the high school, collegiate high school, out on West Campus, where they're going to do a lot less damage than they're doing on our campus. And I mean, it's a mess, folks. This man right here can tell you, you know, from condoms to, you know, in the halls to, yeah, it's just unbelievable. Then, you know, and the bathrooms, they go in and purposely mess those up. But why not move them to that old admin building, renovate it out on West Campus, and isolate them from you know, these other buildings, and then go ahead and redo the St. Clair and turn it over to the English.
Yeah.
That would be a great facility for them. Okay. So, you know, all these changes and stuff. So Harvin Center is going to be classrooms, and then we're going to build a big fancy student building over there where Heritage Hall sits. And, you know, I mean, we're going to get the money for this.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if you think it's going to be bad for 34 acres downtown with a dog walk for, you know, $60-70 million, which was voted down, I don't think that Del Mar is going to stand a prayer in the hot place of getting people to cough up, you know, $200 to $300 million.
At least, yeah.
Okay. All right. I just don't think that's going to happen. Okay. So, you know, and the beat goes on over there, Eddie. And then the latest coup. Okay. Here we go again. Voluntary Retirements Aid Del Mar. Okay. Now this is one of the biggest piles of hooey, if you know what I'm talking about, that I've seen in a long time. This happened just the other day at the Board of Regents meeting, okay, where here we go again. We've got people, our Human Resources Executive Director and our CFO, excuse me, we're over there preaching that this has been so successful in 2008 and 2011 that we've gotten rid of all these old-timer, expensive, full professors and so forth, and now we've got a bunch of young people in there, many of which are adjuncts, and we're saving money. Now, it cost them, in the 2008 program, cost the college about $4.3 million, and that was to pay for the retirements. Early retirements are voluntary, and the total savings was $2.4 million according to a presentation shown to Regents Tuesday. Now, how can it cost you $4.3 million and you're saving $2.4? Now, I was sitting right next to a 30-year plus experienced CPA, folks, and he sat there with his mouth hanging open saying, how in the world does that work?
Yeah.
Okay. He said it's not possible. And then they went through the 2011 program, where they said that cost about $4 million, and then the program saved a bunch of money. Okay, the college saved about $2.9 million from the 2011-2012 phases, according to the presentation. So I'd like to see, and I'm going to ask for the numbers for that.
Yeah.
Okay. I just can't believe it. It's incredible to me. Okay. So here we go again. Now, with this administrative bloat, let me tell you the way I feel about it, Eddie. I always have. In private industry, we had administrators that were there to provide the research people with what they need to do the research and develop products that would make money for the corporation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
all right.
Since I get furious when I hear these administrators say, well, you know, this is a business. Well, education is not a business, folks. I've got a hot flash for you. Okay, it's an educational endeavor. It's got nothing to do with business. And the philosophy over there now is the students own this place. They can run this place. We got to pamper them. We got to powder the little bottoms and take care of them, and not teach them a thing. Just make sure that they're always smiling and happy, and they're not complaining about an old salty gray-headed professor of microbiology. So, you know, good luck there, folks. But the administration at Del Mar College is bloated big time. It's about 3 or 4 times more than what we need. All they're doing is they're just concocting more things to throw on the faculty's back, since we don't do anything but sit around and drink coffee and eat donuts and commiserate, and you know, we don't get anything done. I don't have to go and clean my own lab and mop it and sweep it and so forth. It's that much fun over there these days. But all the administration is there for is to provide me as a faculty member with what I need to teach my students. That's it. They don't need to be doing a damn thing else other than that, okay? But they're in everybody's business over there. They're concocting all this wild and woolly stuff. They're turning students on faculty members, and I'm going to talk about Dr. Bennett's thing here just in a minute to wrap this stuff up. But this administrative bloat that we have there, taxpayers, you need to get into the middle of that one and say something about it, because that school is not working. I've got a real hot flash for you, okay? We've got a vice president of instruction that's gone a good bit of the time on these SACS reviews for other colleges. I don't know if he gets paid extra for that or not. I'd have to look it up. I'm not saying that he did. And for what he's done to Del Mar College in a couple of instances, including Janelle Bennett, I just as soon have him gone on something else and not have him messing around and fouling up the works on campus. So, sue me, fire me. I said on several shows, I don't give a damn what you think about me. I don't care anymore. I'm just that disheartened with this whole thing. And until you guys buck up over there and get the job done. But I want to see the numbers on this. Losing 4.5 million, but we're saving 2.4. Does that make any financial sense to you?
No, that's creative. That's what I call. It's my
very,
opinion.
very creative. Okay.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. Well, then go ahead.
After one of the administrators got the what was it, the 8 million, 11 million, after we found out that we got that kind of money, I don't know whether to believe those figures now, depending on where it came from and how they came up with that formula to add them or subtract whatever to get that number there. It's like that's creative, adding or subtracting or whatever it is creative how they do it, because it's like we're down, we don't have no money, the sky is falling down, and then bam, we got money.
That's right.
Enough money to buy 95, 94 acres out there. So I don't know about those figures, how they came out with those figures there. The only thing I can say, that's creative.
Yeah, that's real creative, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll get to the bottom of that.
And do we
one.
see I want to see how they got to it, and then take it to my CPA, and let me see what he thinks about it, because it seems to be that I don't know how they plug in this number here and plug in this number and come out with that number.
It beats me. I'm not an accountant. I don't.
No, me
profess
either.
to be. I took a lot of math to get me through the sciences and degrees in chemistry and microbiology, folks. But I don't understand this one.
Nope.
This is Del Mar math. Yeah, that's when I was told back during DeCiano's time that I was making a killing. I was getting rich doing overload classes at adjunct pay.
Nah.
Now, I don't know how I can work for a third of what I normally get for a class and get rich doing it, but that was the rumble that was going around at the time. So I'll keep you posted on this new endeavor there. And then what we've got is we're hiring friends all the time and so forth and so on, and hiring practices I don't think are straightforward. I was going to make a comment on one, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to make someone uncomfortable and fearful with such behavior as saying something like that. So I just won't continue on that one. That one's just best left alone. All right. And once again, I don't give a damn what the administration thinks of me. I've got no respect for them left at all. I did at one time, but I've lost all respect for them. And I'm going to stay right in the middle of everybody's neck until we get some of this straightened out. And I'm really looking forward to having some of you taxpayers out there that get a little bit perturbed with this and start saying things. I do know that the members of the Taxpayers Association are getting ready to make some comments and start calling some of these Board of Regents members and letting them have it both barrels. Okay. And it's about high time. But you can't sit and watch this mediocrity, just flourish. And the finances the way they are, and the state also. We need to get on their necks about getting rid of these dropping algebra and the rest of this stuff. Okay. All right.
And the thing is, getting back to education, folks, it's an open secret, CCISD. I mean, teachers will tell you, and as long as their boss is not around, the principal is somebody not around. But as you know, I do a lot of shows, and they see this show here because I know a lot of teachers come up to me and say, "I work for CCISD, and you're right, the doctor's right, but I got to support a family. I got to do this, I got to do that," and they want to teach, but their hands are tied because some superintendent that I remember when Abe Savera was here. The education level was high, man. I mean, they were producing a product but when they got to Del Mar, I mean, they were taking core courses, and then we had a couple more superintendents. This last one that we have, I mean, this is my opinion. I alone is doing a bad job, a real bad job. Look at when they get to Del Mar, as the doctor said, we gotta teach them everything that they're supposed to learn when they were going to CCISD. And it's an open secret because it's a joke because, other school districts, when they come, you can tell the difference in how they were teaching, how they were, and again, I mean, you take CCISD and they're not, I mean, and it's not the teachers are, I mean, their hands are tied, sir.
Yeah. Well, that's the opposite of what happened here with Dr. Janelle Bennett.
Yes.
And here's the front page of the December 3rd Foghorn. And it says, 4 reasons cited during termination hearings, appeal is ongoing. And the headline was, DMC nursing professor loses job. And that was back on October 11th when our president decided to go with the dismissal hearing recommendations for removal. Okay, and it's still ongoing. I think it's back in the hands of the Board of Regents now. But one of the things that galls me, Eddie, is she is a very fine instructor. She's tough as nails. She knows what she's doing. And 3 students got all over her because she flunked them in clinicals because they weren't up to par. Okay, they weren't doing the job. So they went and complained, and then, nobody'd shut them down out there, and they were making some real nasty comments to not only their fellow students, but other faculty members. Some in my department, when I'm still burned up that those people would qualify what a student said about a professor. I don't listen to them. And, I just run them out of my class when that happens. But it says here, Dr. Fernando Figueroa, Provost and Vice President of Student Instruction and Student Services, explained the reasons in direct examination. Well, all of those explanations were countered by paperwork and evidence and stuff that Dr. Bennett had, and there was no reason for it. Okay, I sat through almost every bit of it. Now, what's happened consequently is it's at the board level, and here's my beef about this. I won't dwell on that because Dr. Bennett will get hers just rewards and desserts in the end. Okay, but I have stated on many occasions that I'm perturbed about the firing, and I'm perturbed about I'm just appalled by the attempts to fire Dr. Bennett for being an excellent nursing professor. Okay, now then I have the Del Mar College board attorney, okay, the Board of Regents attorney, Mr. Augustine Rivera, trying to intimidate me by stating that I am discussing confidential information on this show. Okay, now I don't think I saw Mr. Rivera in any of those hearings over there. And I don't know if he read the transcripts or not. If I had to take a guess, probably not, unless he was billing, for it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm not going to be intimidated, Mr. Rivera. Okay. So I want you, and I've asked you this under Public Information Act request, I want you to tell me what I've said on this show that you can prove legally, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it was confidential when I said it. Okay. I want you to prove that, sir. So you can go and bill Del Mar College another $200 or $300 an hour and piddle around with me. But I don't think it would behoove you to go around and make more statements like that. Now, what I did, Eddie, it was on 11th, it was November the 12th at a board meeting when they were taking up this case.
Okay.
I wrote each board member a letter, and I sent it to each and every one of them, okay? I hand-delivered it to that board meeting, and the bottom line was, I told them I was appalled at what was going on with this, and I'd sat through all those hearings myself personally, and I saw all the evidence, I saw all the witnesses, and then we had Dr. Figueroa like this and like this when his witnesses were up there. It was one of the most blatant displays that I'd ever seen of leading a witness along. But the bottom line out of all that, Eddie, was I couldn't see the connect, okay?
No.
She's a fantastic person. Now, in the middle of that, Mr. Rivera has also, he won't talk to me directly. This is third party that I'm getting this stuff from. He was perturbed with me and said that I have no right to be able to contact a Board of Regents member directly. Now, folks, I'm a taxpayer, okay? Lord knows I pay taxes to the district,
Yeah.
okay? All right, now, and as I said, my dad fought tooth and nail, not only Second World War where he was shot down, he flew fighters and down Big Alley in Korea for a year or so, and then he flew forward air control, which is one of the most hazardous ways to go, in Vietnam for a year, 13 months actually, okay? So he and my family sacrificed. It's not fun to have a guy over there fighting it out, duking it out in a foreign country for 13 months at a time, and you don't see him, you don't know what's going on. Every day that somebody knocks on the door, you say, I hope this isn't the Pentagon sending, word down that he's gone. And it's a nerve-wracking way to go. But if he was able to do that for me, then I'm, by golly, going to take up the banner and say, Mr. Rivera and Ms. Cano and Dr. Figueroa and Escamilla and Trey McCampbell, there's not a damn one of you over there that's going to be able to shut me up. Okay? Now, when you prove that I'm divulging confidential information, then I will abide by what's kosher at that stage of the game, and I may quit. Okay? But I'm not telling you anything out there, taxpayers, except the truth. And this is one of the worst displays, despicable displays of professors that got mad at Dr. Bennett and went to that provost. And then he's going to back them up because they're the good guys, I guess, and I'm not by any stretch of the imagination, and neither was Janelle. But the whole thing stinks to high heaven, Eddie. It makes you just want to sit down and weep sometimes to see that happen. And I know the consequences of that because Dr. Figueroa has tried to intimidate me in the past by taking a student way after her time that she was eligible to file a grievance against me, and gave her permission to do so, and then he got his mustache waxed back for him real good, okay? And, so I don't know. Maybe that's drinking too much Starbucks coffee in the afternoon or something. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But I'm just tired of it, and I'll stand up for it because my dad and a whole lot of people that raised me, an elite group of fighter pilots, fought for my right to stand up for myself. So if you want to go over the top of me, but Mr. Rivera, I just want you to know that I'm not the least bit intimidated by you, never will be. I just consider the source, and that's all you like to do is go around and intimidate people and stir up more trouble at Del Mar College so that you can bill more billable hours and, fatten your wallet up real good. So there you go, okay? But the claims that were made against Dr. Bennett cannot be backed up with the information that was provided. And another thing that galls me is the 3 students, not a one of them showed up for 1 nanosecond of those days and days of hearings, okay? So if that's confidential information, Mr. Rivera, then you better write it. But I'm going to be watching you real close. I've ordered and asked for stuff under Public Information Act request. I want to know where the policies are that state that a free tax-paying citizen of the Del Mar College District cannot talk to and communicate with a Board of Regents member that has been elected by the public. I want to see that. Eddie.
I want to see it because
All right.
you know, I want to see it.
All right, and I've got another one in to see how much money Mr. Rivera's making over there building Del Mar College over the last couple of years. And that really concerns some people. I've got some in here for Miss Cano. And we'll just see what goes on, okay? So you keep pushing and I'll just keep bumping along. And I think what got him was I attached this to Mr. Trey McCampbell. See, he wasn't there at that one board meeting.
Oh, okay.
So I saved the letter for him, and then I fixed a card that someone had made up for me for South Texas News and Reviews, okay? And it's got a nice picture, I know you can't see it, of a guy camera there. And it's got South Texas News and Reviews. It's got my name, investigative reporter, and my telephone number, and my email address. It's gsansing@gmail.com. But this person came up with a, I thought, pretty clever statement being made here. It says, eliminating corruption one buffoon at a time. Okay? So if I have to do it one buffoon at a time, then that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm calling you out, Mr. Rivera. If you can prove that I have, but don't go around making statements like that to anybody, okay? Because, you know, I've got an awful lot of people around here, much to the dismay of Del Mar College Board of Regents members, some of them, and, you know, the administration over there. You know, I've got an awful lot of people that feed me an awful lot of information in a day, folks, and they're just absolutely furious. And here's another person that gets letters every day. I get envelopes stuck on my windshield, under the windshield wiper. I get them through the mail anonymously and so forth. And sometimes the people just walk up to me and say, did you know?
Yeah, as simple as that.
So if you want to step in that one, guys, then let me know. And then I'm going to end it with this little blurb here. There's Mr. Rowlings, who owns 12 acres at downtown. There's a map on the Caller Times back on the 8th of December, and he's going to sell all these 12 acres for $12 million. He's a multi-billionaire. I think the article said he was the 14th most richest man in the state of Texas, which puts him in the billionaire category. But I think what's happening here, by virtue of him dumping this, and I think he still owns the Omni Hotel. I don't know if he sold that or not. But he's got property all down by the Heritage Park and the Bank Center, and then over by the Caller Times and up and down Mesquite and so forth and so on. But why would he be pulling out of Corpus Christi?
Yeah.
I think he knows that with the demise of Destination Bayfront, that's a bad omen on the horizon for these people.
Yeah, it sure is. And I mean, Whataburger, was it Whataburger or HEB who they transfer their corporate headquarters elsewhere?
Well, both.
I believe it was that. You know, that was a while back, folks. You know when.
Yeah, well, HEB.
Yeah, but I believe they took their people somewhere else. Whataburger did the same thing. You know, and everybody said, well, anyway, sir, we have a minute and 48 seconds left, sir.
Okay.
And
well, you take care
let me
of that.
take care of that.
It's easier
Ladies and
with two
gentlemen,
cameras.
yes, 2 cameras here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the show, man. We appreciate you tuning in, and like she said, you know, keep on watching, keep sending whatever you got, DVDs, and we'll cover the stories. I'd like to say thank you to all the porters of Del Mar and everybody, secretaries, clerks. Good night. So long.
Okay, we're back. We've got a little over a minute left, so I thought I'd go ahead and since this is going to air Christmas Day, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas again, Happy Holidays, and with all the trimming and stuff, just be careful driving back to your homes and so forth on Christmas evening or the next day. But hope we've encouraged you to write the Board of Regents and let you know what's going on. And there, if you look at the banner here, I've got my name and it's got the email address for it. It's gsansing, SANSING, @gmail.com. And there are the times, that Wednesday at 9 p.m. on Channel 10. And then we've got 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. So I wish you a good evening, Merry Christmas, and good night.